say to my bride, let's go for a ride in my newfangled automobile. Just where we will go, nobody knows, but it's sure a great way to feel. Behind the wheel of the speed meter steel, it's my newfangled automobile. Hello and welcome to Vintage Car History. I'm Wild Bill. How do you get into the car hobby? I mean, let's face it, for many, if not most people, cars aren't a hobby, they're a necessity. But the first step you have to take if you want to get into the car as a hobby is have an interest in cars. And let's face it, if you're watching this channel, you've already passed the test. So what do you do from there? And that's what we're going to talk about today, how to really get into the car hobby. There's really three different ways that people get into cars as a hobby. That's as an enthusiast, a owner, or a collector. Now, to be a car enthusiast is actually quite easy. You don't have to own an antique car or a classic car or a muscle car or even a fairly new car that's been on the market to be interested in them and find clubs about them. They're everywhere. If there's a car out there that somebody likes, a club has been made for it. If you want to get into muscle cars, there's the Muscle Car Club. If you want to get into Model Ts or Model As, the clubs are there. If you want to get into the antique cars, they're there. If you want to get into anything that was made with a Wankel engine, those clubs are out there. And they're filled with people who are very knowledgeable about the vehicles that they love. And if you're building that love, what you do is get around those people. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. Europe, South America, Australia, Africa, Asia, US, it doesn't matter. There's clubs out there. And all you have to do is a simple Google search and you'll find them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use the AACA, which is the Antique Automobile Club of America, just as an example. But you can do the same exercise with any kind of car you're interested in, and you're going to enjoy the results. There are going to be meets, websites, drive-ins, all sorts of activities that are going to happen at the local club and its chapters. You do not have to own a classic car or an antique car or even own a car to join one of these clubs 99% of the time, including the AACA. You don't have to own a car, but you do need to enjoy them. And that's the whole point, because once you make contact with your local club and learn what they do, when they meet, where they meet, when they do their drive-ins, who the people are with their particular specialties and their knowledge of cars, you will be able to get integrated into them and be able to spend some time around the cars that you have expressed the interest in. And I can tell you right now, the more you get around the cars that will, wow, this is something I really like and I wanted to learn about them, and now you're around that car and you're talking to the owner of that car, and I will tell you, you're not going to find an owner of a car that they're proud of and that they love that doesn't want to talk about it for hours. And when you sit there and let them talk about it, you have made a friend, okay? And they will help you. They will help you to dive further into the cars. I mean, I can tell you from personal experience, I have driven and ridden in far more vintage and veteran and antique cars than I have actually owned. But it's because I know these people. I've got to know them. And I show the interest in them. And this interest in me has grown for over 50 years. And hey, welcome to Vintage Car History. But once you have made the connection with the local car club that whenever your particular interest is in, this is where you can also begin to contribute even further into the car hobby. Each of these clubs AACA chapters, Horseless Carriage Club members, your Model T, Model A guys, the Borg Word Club, whatever. They have needs within the club. And if you have particular skills, those skills will be greatly appreciated by these primarily nonprofit organizations. You have the need for IT support. I couldn't do that. I'm clueless. There's people who have access to, because of their profession, to printing or to other things that can help the organization at that level. You also have people that have other skills that can be used practically on the cars themselves. If you're a mechanic interested in, hey, let me work on a T-head or an L-head or a Knight sleeve valve, these are the people that you can, that can put you in front of these engines. Or if you're someone who's good at body work and paint work or upholstery. I mean, try finding someone who knows how to upholster a 23 Napier. But if you know how to upholster, you can figure it out. And I know quite a few people that by just offering their services to the members of the club, just honestly, and even for free at first in many cases, but just out of wanting to learn and wanting to get involved in the cars, eventually built some serious careers out of it and eventually became owners and even collectors as a result, which is going to lead to the next portion, which is the owner. Once you have integrated into the people that know these cars, don't try to be an owner on your own. And okay, really don't. Okay. All right. Plug in first, to the right people. Get yourself the education, be the enthusiast first. Don't just go, oh, I want to get into cars and just go buy something. Don't make that mistake. Okay. Learn and get your hands on some cars. If you have no money, go to the enthusiasts and you'll be able to get that experience. If you've got money, go to the enthusiasts and you'll get that experience. To become an owner and to do it right, you plug into the clubs and let them guide you to your car. They know where the barns are and they're going to lead you to them and they'll give you ideas and you'll start exploring too. And they will teach you how to search for your car, wherever it may be on the planet. Sometimes, you can find them on eBay or Bring a Trailer or other sites like that. But, there are some places that you just have to know the local guy who lives right past the tree with the three forks next to it, and you turn left there and over the creek, that you're going to find some absolute gems. And these gems can be anything from cars fairly new, within the last 30, 20 years, all the way back. Hunt those cars down and then let the clubs and the friends you will have built help you to build your car. And in fact, I happen to know a couple of gentlemen that live not too far from me. They're not big, huge, wealthy collectors or anything else. These are just two guys that love themselves some cars. They're not vintage cars. But what does it really take to get into the hobby? It really doesn't take much more than building and establishing yourself in the community. Just take a look. When it comes to loving yourself some cars, it doesn't have to be an old person, a rich person, young person, whatever. That's not what's the point. It's the point, do you love yourself some cars? And here is Trevor, here is Tyler, and they love themselves some cars. So Tyler, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Why do you love yourself some old cars?
Well, I guess kind of started all with my grandfather and my dad. Born and raised around it. Kind of didn't get the option as a kid. It was just what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously found a love and a passion for it. As I got older and had my own kids, kind of try to get them into it, if that's what they want to do. But, it's taught me a lot of skills in life, got me around a lot of obstacles. And not only that, it's definitely a big convenience for, what I consider to be like, stress and anxiety, kind of helps you get through those things if that's something to deal with in life.
When you say, getting through things, stress and anxiety and things, how does that apply to you working on cars? I mean, what do you really, what's going on inside?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I went through some hard times in my life, just as everybody does. And when those things arose, my safe place is right here in my garage. It definitely is a peaceful place. I like to have my friends over, obviously. Trevor here, that's his hot rod back there. We've been working on, and it's kind of made our friendship come stronger, more like a brotherhood. And it's something that we do together. As well as, my other buddies that, are included from time to time. It definitely helps us keep out of the mess in the world and just concentrate on living and enjoying our lives.
Yeah, awesome. And when you say about the brotherhood, I mean, that's the whole reason why car clubs even exist is, folks that just love working with their hands, working on cars, seeing, and especially when you're looking at the older cars, the antique cars, vintage veterans, even some of the cars here are fairly new in regards to what we do on my channel. But still, it's that visceral thing of being with the engine and taking an old car and bringing it back to life and the kind of life you want it to be.
Right.
And of course, it's a brotherhood. So, Trevor, one of these is yours, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which one's yours?
the black Capri sitting right here.
Okay. So, how'd you guys hook up, and what's your story? What brought you into being a gearhead?
I would say it goes along with family too. My dad's always had cars. My uncles have always had cars. My grandpa worked on cars, and then all my friends have cars too. So it's been a long time. It's always been like generational.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. In fact, when I was talking to Bob Leibesberger a few weeks ago, it was very much the same thing. That with the car hobby, as it were, as a hobby, really runs through the genes. And and animals. How important for for you, Trevor, is your family connection with cars? How important is it?
Oh, it's pretty important.
How so?
Um,
It's okay.
uh, it always gave me a bond with my dad. Working on helping him work on cars, and he helped me work on my cars and things like that. His dad did that with him too, and all my uncles. My uncles have all had cars, old muscle cars.
Awesome. So it sounds to me, Trevor, that you answered that quite well.
Yeah.
That it's about family, and it's about sharing passions. Would you say that's
Oh yeah.
okay? What do you say that's about?
Well, I feel like another part of it for me is, like building a car, and kind of making it your own. It's kind of like an art, and nobody's there to tell you if it's wrong or right. If they do, that's their choice, but whatever makes you happy in your mind, that's what really matters. I've had a couple cars in my life that people are like, why do you own that? I got one right now. Like, what are you doing with that thing? Well, I enjoy it, and that's what matters. And then as time goes on, that car over there I've had for 3 years. It's probably the car I've kept the longest out of the toys I've had. There's just something about that thing. I woke up one day and decided that's what I wanted, and had a Mustang at the time, and sold the Mustang, kept that. And I'll tell you, it's brought a different personality from me a little bit. It's a different type of car than I've ever had. My kids tend to really enjoy it. So it's something that I've just, grew on, and it's kind of taught me a lot of things actually. I've always usually, was raised on muscle cars and older cars. And, this is a 2016, so it's newer, it's technology more than what I'm used to. And so I kind of grew with it, and I feel like it's something I plan on keeping and giving to my kids one day. And, that's something that, hopefully now they can learn as they grow with the newer technology in their age, that will be older technology, but they will still have schooling of it and ideas of it, As far as like the Mustang back here, like me and Trevor, that's kind of what we were born and raised on, and we definitely have the most instinct for. And I'd like to carry that on with my kids too. So that's pretty important to me, as well as, this was a dream car of mine that I've luckily got my hands on after searching for almost 15 years for the exact car. So,
And the exact cars.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
And it looks great, and hopefully we'll see the rest of it soon.
Yep. Eventually we will.
And Tyler, you said something, and Trevor, you were implying it too, is that this room right here, this is your garage. This is your garage. I mean, there's Rat Pink over there. We got this. We got Summit over there. This is a place of freedom, is it not?
It is. It is.
Yes. This
Just
is
like
where
I
you
told you.
can be free.
Yeah, I mean, the garage is more comfortable to me than sitting on my couch in the living room, It's my safe place,
It's safe. You can be free to do whatever you want, and whatever else's opinion, who cares? This is your garage.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful thing, to see, folks that, are, generation after me, pursuing that passion, and you're passing that passion on as well.
Well, like I
Like
said,
zero.
another very important thing to me is just to be able to share it with, my friends and my family. If they need to work on something, or, there's something I can help them with, or, it's bonding time or building a friendship, building a relationship. And I've made friends just from, having people say, hey, can you work on my car? Yeah, sure, come on over. I'll help you with it, like, I don't have to do it for you. I'll help you. Yeah, I mean,
Can't come from
Yeah.
Cuyahoga Falls to buy some parts and ends up hanging out all night.
Yeah, come to buy parts from a Fiesta that I bought, and it had been rolled, and it was broken, and actually two of them, but one was rolled and the other one, was just tore up and in a wreck, and he come down to buy some parts, and next thing you know, we chopped it up, and now we made a good relationship. We both got the same kind of car, and it's just like it kind of went from there. An awesome guy, so.
And that's really true throughout the car hobby.
Yeah.
It really is. If you have something to share and you have skills that you can give, I mean, we give them. It's what we do, because it's all about the peace and freedom that comes from just loving using cars.
Yeah.
One of the great things about being in their garage is just the smell of the place. Jay Leno often said, what would you rather have your husband come home smelling like, cheap perfume or transmission fluid? And there is that visceral aspect of just working on a car on your own, yourself, or with your friends and with your community, and researching and studying and then cranking on it, things breaking, having setbacks, and then having triumphs. That's just part of growing in the hobby and building a love for it. And then there are the collectors as well. Now, these are the folks typically that have more of the income that's, discretionary to be able to spend on the cars. I mean, Jay Leno is a great example of that. But if you want to see some great collections, this is where you go to the museums, because most museums have a principal benefactor. Someone who is really, or someone's in many cases, that are supplying most of the cars. And one of the things that people many times fail to do when they go to a car museum is ask about the owners. Because many times it's not the museum that owns the cars. They're on loan, either from other museums or for other collections. And that's how you're going to get into the collector market, if you really want to, is going there. Also, the other place, if you want to get into collectors, is going to the dealerships that specialize in classic or antique cars or muscle cars. Every major city has such a dealership that is going to sell those type of cars to those type of collectors. So go to those dealerships and inquire. Say, I'm interested in, again, they're going to have some awesome cars, and they're going to be able to direct you to the collectors and how the collectors are gathering those cars. I will admit, I've never been a collector myself. I always did flipping cars. But you want to know the ultimate collector? Obviously, it's Jay Leno. You can look at, obviously, the Audrain collection. You can look at the Peterson collection. You can look at the Ford Museum. There's many awesome collections out there. And if you get the means to love yourself some cars to that level, please do it. Thanks for watching Vintage Car History, and we'll see you next week.